Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, folks. It is the one, the only, the gorilla, and I'm with my main man, Cowboy, working the airwaves, making sure the broadcast is coming out crispy and clean. You know what I mean? Check us out, roguenews.com. Follow us on Twitter at Real Rogue News or Rogue News ESW, at Rogue News ESW, and wherever we're on every single podcasting app you want us to be, plus a bag of chips. And with that being said, Cowboy, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good, yourself.
I'm hanging in there, man. I can't complain. I could, but what a hell of a day, man. I'm trying to get back to the office. Road closures, freaking traffic. It was just mind numbing. But I'm here. You know. And
yeah, that's why I got out of this city, man.
I know, but traffic even this unless you're out in the country or sparsely populated area, traffic can occur anywhere, and it's just you suffer.
Yeah, man. That's why I moved to the country. Eat a lot of peaches.
Yeah, I'm good. I like my hustle and bustle. I like my traffic when it's not traffic, and I'm not. Well, I don't know. I like densely populated areas for some reason. Well, I'll tell you why. Food and entertainment. Those are two big reasons.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
And then I got a parking ticket on top of that, man. When I park with an app. I have 13 minutes and 18 seconds left on the app, and this asshole cop, I don't know who the hell he is, leaves a ticket on my windshield. I'm gonna call them and yell at them, bro. This is like ridiculous.
Yeah, well, you know, it's all about the balance, right? You know, food, entertainment, that's all fine and good, but really, are you actually out eating the food and having the entertainment? And if you are, then that's one thing, you know.
I am always out having the food and the entertainment.
Nice. Yeah, well, McDonald's and you know, strip clubs. That's I mean, you can get that anywhere.
Strip clubs. Oh, you're funny.
They sell like the pickled eggs, you know, the strip clubs, like the bars. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, like bar food. I don't know. I haven't been to a strip club, and I mean, it's the way I look at that whole thing is, yeah, the girls are hot or whatever, but I mean, dude, I don't know. Why start the car if you're not going to go for a drive? And it's like, I mean, dude, I don't mean to disparage people who go to strip clubs. I got buddies who love going to strip clubs, but for the most part, you're kind of sitting there amongst a certain crowd of people, and it's just not a crowd that I want to be around. And it's no offense to that crowd. It's just my own taste.
Never been to one.
Seriously, never been to a strip club?
Never. People are shocked when I tell them that.
They got a Chippendales pretty close to you, so you could always.
Oh yes! Oh yes! I think they have the International Male Review this week. I'm gonna go there.
There you go.
Wear my pink hat. Oh my god!
Good Lord! At this rate, with the way things are going, you know, there's probably gonna be a lot more people in that business.
I mean, the way things are going, everybody's gonna be on OnlyFans, bro. It's only a matter of time.
Well, when everybody's on OnlyFans, then nobody may as well be on OnlyFans. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those like when nobody can know until everybody knows kind of things. Mm-hmm. But we're telling you here first, so you know.
On to the news. A lot of interesting things are going on in Japan. Right? A lot of interesting things. Their bonds are busting. Somebody's busting their bonds. Who's busting their bonds? Well, it's all the idiotic moves by the Bank of Japan, the BOJ, doing all sorts of crazy chicanery. Now, what you might have ask yourself a question. What does Japanese bonds have to do with me and the price of a hot dog in Missouri? Well, I'll tell you. There's so much interlinkages financially between the Japanese stock market and even our equities market. They're so interlinked, and people don't realize Japan has always been set up as the third leg of U.S. international financial chicanery. Okay, has always been. Japan played a very integral role in manipulating the Russian rubles during the Cold War, which then eventually caused it was one of the few catalysts that helped cause the hyperinflation within the Russian ruble currency during the end or towards the end of the Soviet Union in the late 80s and the early 90s. So Japan has always been a mischief engine. I remember writing an extensive article as to why Japan is a mischief engine. It is one of the most important legs within the Western financial fraud that we've been living under for the last 50 some odd years, 50, 60 years, right? Maybe even more. And as the great program that EM did yesterday, if you haven't gotten a chance to listen to it, I recommend you go back and listen to it again. And he said it so perfectly. We have gone as an economy from return on labor, and that's run its course. Now we're return on capital, and that's what we're seeing right now is the market is teetering, tottering, and 7 companies circle jerking each other is the only thing propping up our entire economy. We are moving from a economy where we're going from a return on capital, and we're getting to more and more bullshit, like we talked about yesterday, which is a return on energy. All the while, one of the signs that the system is starting to buckle under its own fraud, under its own weight, is Japan, Nippon, as they would say. And let me share my screen here, Cowboy. This is from this is a premium Zero Hedge article. Earlier this week, they reported that the Japanese bond yield soared to record, slamming door shut on stimulus just as the economy implodes amid escalating China clash. Now, this escalating China clash. Have you paid attention to what the new Japanese prime minister, this crazy lady that only sleeps about 2 hours a day, you know what she's saying?
Before you say it, can you zoom in on your screen a bit so everybody can see it?
Oh, sure.
What's there that? You go. Well, okay.
Is that better?
Yeah. I mean, no. Yeah, there you go. Do that, and then just like take your browser and do the view zoom.
What?
Like, you don't know how to zoom in on your browser? There you go. There you go. Now zoom in.
Oh, hold on. I'll fix this.
Nobody can see what's on the screen. You can see like a chart.
1 second, please.
Okay.
Okay.
This is what happens when you use like Zero Hedge Premium, where you actually have to have like the subscription to see it, and I'm not running the screen. There you go.
I forgot to give you the login.
Yeah, do that do what you just did like 3 or 4 times.
Okay, zoom in is Control Plus.
There you go. Keep going. Okay, now people can actually read it.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at it. Wow. All right, so these are the Japanese bond yields, right? And the Prime Minister of Japan, the lady, I'll just call her the lady. I forgot what her name was. I read it once and I don't remember it. She's literally saying that an attack by China on Taiwan will be taken with serious measure by the Japanese Defense Forces, and they'll have a response to it. And the Chinese foreign minister to Japan said, listen, a country that has a blood debt, and this is where I kind of I said, oh, snap. I've never heard them ever use this word ever before, Cowboy. When the Chinese foreign minister said, a country that owes a blood debt to China should not be so loose with its words. Wow. It's amazing to me as Western economies implode, and you have a Western stooge or a stoogette in power in Japan, that these countries are looking to rattle the saber as much as possible. Japan's pro-stimulus prime minister, there it is, Sana Takaichi, better known as Abe 2.0, is set to unveil the country's largest stimulus plan since the pandemic era any second. In a move that adds to her reputation for expensive fiscal policy while putting bond vigilantes on notice and could start the end game for Japan's capital markets and economy. Takaichi's stimulus package set to be unveiled Friday will include $17.7 trillion, or about $112 billion of spending through what will essentially be the extra budget. That marks a jump from $13.9 trillion former Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba unveiled last year. And given the larger size and additional bond issuance, will be bigger than last year, putting more pressure on the country's finances. In fact, Japan is the first of many countries set to unveil massive fiscal and monetary stimulus as global economic growth slows down dramatically and as panicking politicians scramble to hand out stimulus checks to their angry voters. Long-term consequences and inflation be damned, which is why the current meltdown in Bitcoin is especially funny. The total value of the package includes some items that are already budgeted to be well over $21.3 trillion. Bloomberg reported citing leaked documents. By comparison, a proportionate stimulus plan in the U.S. will be just over $1 trillion, and it's just a matter of time before it arrives. Folks, what the hell are they saying? They're saying, okay, when you're seeing this, we are witnessing the end game being played out. And there are two triggers to the Western financial system. The first trigger is Japan. And another secondary trigger that can cause a complete economic collapse is Germany. But Japan, I've been saying since 2012, is a very key point. Japan could be the trigger, could be the blasting cap that begins to blow this whole thing through. If the Japanese bond market collapses, if the Japanese economy collapses, which is they're gone past terminal, folks. They're gone past terminal. 236% of GDP is correct. That's how debt to GDP, and Rod Panhard was correct. Japan, 236% debt to GDP. Isn't that amazing? And on top of that, 64% of the Tokyo Stock Exchange is owned by their own central bank, the Bank of Japan. Now they are talking about, well, we should start handing out stimulus checks, and this is going to cause hyperinflation, but who cares? We got to keep it together. And then on top of that, we got to go to war with China. This is the spasmodic machinations of a dying jackal. Study this. Look at the patterns of Japan. The United States, monetarily and fiscally speaking, is an amalgam of Japan and the UK. That's where we are. We are a blend of both in some regards, in a lot of regards, actually. And we're seeing the financial endgame starting right before us. The death rattles of a dying jackal. And I bring this up as a point because notice that their immediate go-to as these countries fall apart is, oh, we need a war. We need a big war. We need a war that could really, we need something. Because there's nothing worse than being involved in some sort of an economic downturn while at the same time being drunk on your own Kool-Aid. Hence Trump's response to when he heard about the Buraveshnik unlimited range cruise missile that the Russians have put out. Trump's response has been, oh, we're going to start nuclear testing. No, you can't. No, you can't. The only thing that we can do is just launch duds out of a submarine and then watch that thing fall to the ground. That's basically what we can do. There's no nuclear test. We can't do it. And so we are in a very particular situation, folks, where everywhere you look in the West, they're falling apart. And as they collapse, as they lose purchasing power, as their currencies inflate, as their social unrest begins to mount, what is the knee-jerk reaction of all of them? Oh, we need to get into some sort of a conflict. It's remarkable. It's absolutely astounding to witness this. What do you think, Cowboy?
It's hard for me to be surprised anymore. I think like launching missiles, I think it's optics more than anything else.
Yep.
I think it's like, oh, you launch missiles, we'll launch missiles, and then like the 90% or more of people around the world that don't know anything about anything saying, okay, US has missiles too. And they have no idea what's, the technology is with the Russian nuclear powered propelled missile, right?
Unlimited range. You can literally fly out there forever.
Yeah, until wild.
And they even have a torpedo version of it as well. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. Well,
now we try to do this too, mind you. Back in the 60s and 70s, when we actually had, leaders in mathematics and engineering and sciences, and we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it at all, because the versions we put out were like spewing radiation all over the place. So we had to kill the project. But the Russians, they announced it in 2023, and now it's fully operational in 2025. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So much for a gas station masquerading as a country.
Oh, that's just something that McCain said a long time ago, I think, right?
Yeah, Obama.
Was it Obama? Whatever. Yeah. Same shit. Same guy. Same part of the same turkey. But I don't know, man. We're at a point where the technology for fighting kinetic wars has gotten to the point where I don't think we'll see large scale kinetic wars anymore. I mean, you can have these Ukraine dust ups, but I think that's a complex scenario where if Russia really needed to take them, they would just take them. But I think Russia has the ability to fight this, and in the slow fight, they can develop technology, and it's better for optics that they don't just, like kill a bunch of people like civilians. So I think it's going slow, but in the end, I think the war is going to be, it's just going to look very different. I mean, EM talked about it. We're already in the war. It's war on our bodies, war on our minds, war on our finance. It's not, I don't think we're going to see guys in trenches around the world like we used to.
Exactly.
I hope not. Yeah.
I hope not too, man. I hope not too. Now, there's been a leaked document, Cowboy. The Russian-Ukrainian peace deal framework was leaked. Speaking of Ukraine, scandal upon scandal upon scandal is breaking out with Zelensky, where right now his power teeters. But of course, this guy's not going to stop. He's not going to stop. But the overarching theme connecting the substance and timing of this agreement is therefore the U.S. eagerness to resolve the Russian-U.S. dimension of the new Cold War in order to prioritize a Sino-U.S. dimension thereof as the next phase of a systemic competition with China. And this is by Andrew Korbioko via Substack. He has an article out. This was recently just published right now as we got the framework for the Russian-Ukraine peace deal that let me see, I think this is the administration. The New York Post also got it, and they put this out from the U.S. Number one, the Ukraine sovereignty will be confirmed. Number two, a comprehensive non-aggression agreement will be concluded between Russia, Ukraine, and Europe, and all ambiguities of the last 30 years will be considered and settled. Number three, it is expected that Russia will not invade neighboring countries, and NATO will not expand further. Yeah, NATO will not expand. NATO can't help but expand, bro.
Well, it's a lot of salaries,
Yeah. A dialogue will be held between Russia and NATO, mediated by the United States, to resolve all security issues and create conditions for de-escalation in order to ensure global security and increase opportunities for cooperation and future economic development. Number five, Ukraine will receive reliable security guarantees. Number six, the size of the Ukrainian armed forces will be limited to 600,000 personnel. Number seven, the Ukraine agrees to enshrine in its constitution that it will not join NATO, and NATO agrees to include in its status a provision that Ukraine will not be admitted to in the future. That's huge. Jeez, this is very favorable, Cowboy. Number eight, NATO agrees not to station troops in Ukraine. Number nine, European fighter jets will be stationed in Poland. Number 10, U.S. guarantees the following. The U.S. will receive compensation for the guarantee. If Ukraine invades Russia, it will lose the guarantee. If Russia invades Ukraine, in addition to a decisive coordinated military response, all global sanctions will be reinstated. recognition of the new territory and all other benefits of this deal will be revoked. If Ukraine launches a missile at Moscow or St. Petersburg without cause, the security guarantee will be deemed invalid. The U.S. will profit from its security guarantees to Ukraine, like it now profits from selling weapons to its NATO, and any cross-border movement of troops will provoke U.S. wrath on the side that does so. The U.S. will presumably coerce those that whom it negotiates new trade deals with, blah, blah, blah. Okay, 11. Ukraine is eligible for EU membership and will receive short-term preferential access to the European market while this issue is being considered. That's kind of funny. That's weird. It's like you're not allowed to join NATO, but you can join the EU. That's kind of weird. The problem is that Poland might impede the EU's push to speedily grant Ukraine membership. As was assessed in early November and explained in the preceding hyperlinked analysis, in short, Poland still unilaterally refuses to allow cheap and low-quality Ukrainian grain into its domestic market, which would ruin its farmers' livelihoods and subsequently crash its agricultural industry. An exception for Poland will therefore likely have to be included in this arrangement in order for it to be approved. Interesting. Number 12, a powerful global package of measures to rebuild Ukraine, including but not limited to a casino, a theme park, a children's petting zoo. I'm just kidding.
What?
Creation of a Ukrainian development fund, a la BlackRock, to invest in fast-growing industries, including technology, data centers, and artificial intelligence. Of course, you gotta have AI. Oh yeah, I smell Wall Street bullshit coming up real quick. The United States will cooperate with Ukraine to jointly rebuild, redevelop, modernize, and operate Ukrainian's gas infrastructure, including pipelines and storage facilities. Joint efforts to rehabilitate war-affected areas for restoration, infrastructure development, extraction of minerals and natural resources. They don't have much. The World Bank will develop a special financing package to accelerate these efforts. I wonder what the interest rates on that will be. Russia will be reintegrated into the global economy. Russia never left the global economy. Yo, we live in La La Land, man. We live in a bubble. We live in a bubble.
I think what's his name? Zelensky already refused all of it.
He has. He completely has. And you know the funny thing is, right? When they say, Russia will be reinstituted in the global, what is the globe? Every time any Western leader said, the world is against you, and you actually see the picture of the world, it's just fucking EU, UK, Canada, and America. That's the world. That's the world. Oh, my God. Russia will be re-invited to join the G8. They're not going to. They have no interest. Frozen funds will be used as follows. $100 billion in frozen Russian assets will be invested in U.S.-led efforts to rebuild and invest in Ukraine. Europe will add $100 billion to increase the amount of investments. Oh, it's going to be there's robbing it blind. The remainder of the frozen Russian funds will be invested in separate U.S. Russian investment vehicles that will implement joint projects in specific areas. 15, a joint American-Russian working group on security issues will be established to promote and ensure compliance with all provisions of this agreement. These people are so fucking dumb. Russia will enshrine its policy of non-aggression towards Europe and Ukraine. 17, the United States and Russia will agree to extend the validity of the treaties on the non-proliferation and control of nuclear weapons, including the START Treaty. That's a good step forward. Ukraine agrees to a non-nuclear state in accordance with the treaty. I don't know about that, man. I think there's some people in the Levant that would love Ukraine to be part of their proxy. You know?
Yeah.
Zaporozhye. Exactly correct, man. It's only a matter of time. How long would it take for Ukraine to set up its own Dimona, right? Its own Dimona nuclear facility?
Well, I mean, I don't think Russia or anybody believes for 1 minute that any agreement will be upheld by Ukraine.
Exactly.
I mean, this is all just a bunch of stuff. It's a bunch of words. It's people meeting. I don't even know why they're even having the conversation at this point.
Well, let's bring up our main man, Vladimir Zelensky. Vladimir Zelensky, who's let me bring him up here. He is such an incredible leader. This is Time Magazine's Man of the Year. He is our generation's Churchill, as the left would like to put it. These globalist shitheads. Yeah, let's see. Is this even in English? Let's see.
Українки, У житті кожної нації є момент, коли всім...
Go fuck yourself. Anyway, this is what I said. He's saying, right, Zelensky, right now is one of the most difficult moments in our history. At this moment, Ukraine may face a very hard choice, either the loss of dignity or the risk of losing a key partner. Either the difficulties of 28 points is extremely hard winter and the hardest and further risks. A life without freedom, dignity, and justice, and believing that someone has already attacked twice. They will expect an answer from us. Right now, the pressure on Ukraine is one of the heaviest. There will be constructive search for solutions with the United States. I will present arguments, persuade, and propose alternatives, but we will not give the enemy grounds to say that it is Ukraine that does not want peace. That will not happen. Thank you, Vladimir. Yeah, basically, he's going to do what his Zionist masters want him to do. That's what's going to happen. And Ukraine has in the kind of resources that the certain group in the Levant needs so desperately. And they'd love to take that. So this is going to be an interesting play, man. It's going to be the Russians, the Americans on one side. For once, that's a good thing. There's more commonality there. You have the Ukrainians, the globalists, and the people from the Levant on the other side.
Yeah, Alex Craner's view is that Europe needs the fight to continue, so they'll never put forth any kind of decent proposals. Yeah. Because the thing about Europe is that they're bankrupt at this point, but they can have the fantasy that they'll be able to collateralize minerals and other type of assets in Ukraine once they, win the war. And so as long as that conversation continues, enough people will believe that it's possible. And therefore, there is a reason to continue to invest in Europe and their banking system. The minute that war ends, apparently they've overinvested in Ukraine. And if Ukraine and that investment is taken away from them, then their entire EU system will collapse.
Absolutely. And in a bit of good news, U.S. and Qatar, they forced the EU climate policy U-turn. That's a good thing. What's occurred is you know that COP30 thing that's occurring in Brazil.
I remember COP, like other COP, prior.
Yeah.
Basically, ecological meetups.
Yep. It says while the former German government minister Annalena Baerbock, the trampolinist, that's her expertise to get into European politics and threaten countries with war. She's a woman that likes to jump on trampolines, bro. I think she probably was with Jimmy Kimmel back in the days during the Man Show with one of those girls jumping on the trampolines. I think she was one of them.
Oh, what's her at?
What?
That's what's her at? Like her at? Like, it's when you think a girl's hot, just like what's her at? You can look it up.
Oh, interesting terminology.
What's her name? Wehrmacht? What?
It's Annalena Baerbock. Wehrmacht.
Wehrmacht.
Yeah, Annalena Kristallnacht. So November 13, 2025 could mark the turning point in European Union history. We may have witnessed the beginning of the end of the European climate socialism. God, let it be. There's amazing European and German automobiles that yearn. There are German V8s that yearn to breathe free. Italian V12s that yearn to scream once again on the horizons of humanity. Angels, the sound of angels, my man, and every gearhead in the world is praying for this. Politically, the event cannot be overstated. Perhaps it should be even called a singularity in the EU policy. The European Parliament paved the way for the dramatic dilution of corporate reporting obligation under the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive. Bam, it's finally reached the EU, man. That's good. In other words, the last vestiges of the ESG insanity, the environmental and social governance bullshit agenda, has finally reached its end. That's a good thing. The EU Commission has recently faced mounting pressure from both Washington and key LNG supplier Qatar, and the U.S. Trade Secretary Howard Lutnick had months earlier called on U.S. companies to simply ignore Europe's ESG framework. It is simply or significantly impeded operations, a direct affront to Ursula von der Leyen, who likes to portray herself as a morally superior, untouchable guarantee. She's another idiot. She's a ne'er-do-well nobody, a fucking moron. And she's one woman who was impeding U.S. and EU trade. And this hack and her ESG environmental bullshit has been shoved up her rear end and kicked right out the window. So good riddance. Good riddance. I like it. And Trampoline Girl, Baerback, is persona non grata. So I like that, Cowboy.
Yeah, I wasn't going to make the bareback joke, but what are you going to do?
Cowboy, what's on your radar, bro?
I just watching markets melt, man.
It's wonderful. What's Bitcoin at right now? Like 72 and dropping?
It's at 38. No, I'm just kidding.
Man.
It's at 85. It made a move up to it had a little relief rally on which I was able to make some money over at Algo Factory. I called it out around 84,000, went up to 85.5. Now it's sitting back at 84, and it may continue up or not, but unless something happens to the stock market, unless something turns around in a big way, then it's probably going to get dragged down.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, man, that's all I got on my radar. Folks, I want to thank you guys for listening in. Short show today. Velas will be back. You have Velas back next week, or?
Next week, I think he said his first. The next show he'll do will probably be early December.
Yeah. Next week, folks, there is no show. We'll be enjoying Thanksgiving festivities. I will be in a food coma. Cowboy will be passed out on a couch somewhere. So enjoy yourselves. We will be back on Monday. Get ready to rock and roll. Got some important highlights and things coming your way, guys, on Monday. Keep it locked and loaded right here. RogueNews.com.